Welcome back to Rise and Shine, the Ability Connection Colorado podcast. My name is Jared, and we're about to talk to Adrienne Paradis. This is one of those people who are so admirable because they see the future, yet, with likely some fear and trepidation, still step into the void to make the world a better place for her family, for all of us. We're going to talk about her multiple platforms and Dupe 15Q, what that is, and how it changed the lives of her and her husband. But before we get there, give me just 20 seconds to tell you that this show, brought to you by the Straight Shot Sporting Clay event, started like people not unlike Adrienne, who found themselves to be bigger and more powerful than ever thought possible. The Higgins family, their son Matt, born with cerebral palsy, and then they became involved with Ability Connection Colorado, and now 2 decades later have raised over $1 million at a safe, fun company outing that affects change in the community on a wonderful afternoon. It's coming up August 8th, and you can learn more at straightshotsportingclay.org. Okay, and now Adrienne Paradis is a part of multiple organizations, and that journey began with her son being diagnosed with Dupe 15Q. Adrienne, can you? I don't know. Let's just start there. How did this all begin for you?
When my son was born 19 years ago, I knew almost right away that he was different than every other baby that I'd ever known. And trying to convince a doctor that he was different than every other baby that I've ever known. By about 7 months, the doctor said, "Yeah, I see what you're saying." And so he was diagnosed with Dupe 15Q syndrome at 10 months old.
I'm curious, what was it that you saw, and what was it that you were telling the doctors?
He was very delayed as far as his skills, his milestones. He would not look at you. Most babies, they face gaze when they're feeding or bottle fed, and he had a lot of difficulty being bottle fed, even a lot of feeding difficulties. And he'd be looking off right through you, and you would be like, "What are you looking at?" But he would not be looking at you at all. And at first I thought he had problems with his eyes. So I took him to an eye doctor when he was an infant, and the eye doctor said there's no issues with his eyes, but he's developmentally delayed. And that was the first time in my life that I'd ever heard that term.
Wow.
And
from the optometrist.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so I started asking questions, to other people, "What do you think about him?" And people were starting to say, "Yeah, I think that there's something going on here." And when he was diagnosed at 10 months old, I didn't know anything about Dupe 15Q. It's such a rare disorder. And, the doctor said, "Just to let you know, the autism diagnosis is coming. He's only 10 months old, but it's coming." It was very apparent he was autistic even at that age. And he received his autism diagnosis at 20 months. And he is profoundly intellectually disabled. He does have autism, and he does have epilepsy. There's a whole laundry list of diagnoses that goes along with the syndrome. And he's pretty middle of the road as far as the syndrome goes. There's a wide spectrum.
And will you be going to the conference in July?
He is not. He's always gone to the conferences with us. This will be our 7th. He's too unpredictable and too big at this point that we do not trust him on a plane. And so he's going to be staying here in Colorado this year.
That seems to me, I'm kind of a sap, so I think I feel what other people feel, but I feel that must be really an awesome experience for you. And your son, probably, maybe all these other families that.
My son couldn't care less one way or the other. He just wants to go to the pool.
Right. Well, that's same with me still. Yeah.
But for us, walking into a room of 500 people that are living your life, you don't have to explain anything, is an amazing experience. We call ourselves the Dupe 15Q family because really no one knows our life unless you live it 24/7.
Mm-hmm. Well, that seems like a good parallel to what parent to parent is.
Yes.
In many ways.
Yes, absolutely. It's just finding someone that understands what you're going through.
And then you can all go to the pool.
Right. Yeah, and find the latest research. All of the researchers come and present their, published and unpublished work. So you do get to learn, all of the research that's happening to have targeted treatments for our kids.
Well, that's an interesting point. I mean, what is happening within research for this? What treatments? What are there new treatments that you see that are hopeful?
The science is moving so fast. I mean, AI is coming into the picture now, and so it's gonna go exponentially at this point. But there are a couple of different trials that are coming up. One is an oral version pill, and hoping with cognitive and improvement as far as the activities of daily living. I can't even talk. Activities of daily living. And then the other one is an ASO, and that is a drug that is injected right into the spinal canal. So it's a lot more invasive, but
Yeah.
it's the only way to get that drug up into the brain, to cross that blood-brain barrier.
And what is the hope with that?
We are hoping just an improvement overall. So in that region, as far as what's duplicated in DUP15Q, there's a gene in there. It's UBE3A. And what it does is it breaks down proteins, and when there's too much, and it doesn't break down proteins effectively. And so we're hoping that when it gets regulated, it will improve, hopefully, cognition, decrease in seizures. There's just a whole host of things that it can help. They've tried it in Dravet syndrome, which I don't know if you've heard of that, but kids have had a remarkable increase as far as, speaking when they weren't able to speak, and decrease in seizures. And we're hoping for the same result.
We talked to a guy, Chris Higgins, whose son has cerebral palsy, and Chris and Kathy are very involved with all the programs. And I asked him, I was like, would you want a kid that doesn't have cerebral palsy? Would you want for Matt not to have cerebral palsy? He's like, no, he wouldn't be Matt. And I wonder what your thoughts are on that.
I wouldn't want to change Aiden. Aiden is an amazing human being. We always say that he has a soul of silver and a heart of gold. He's just the purest form of a human being that you could ever imagine. And we would never, ever want to change that. However, he does have seizures that affect his quality of life. He is nonverbal. That affects his quality of life. He has aggressive outbursts that affects his quality of life. He has GI issues that affect his quality of life. And so if we can affect even, one or two of those, it would definitely help as far as his journey and our journey as well.
And so you mentioned AI, and I guess that's just AI is able to hasten whatever busy work was in between experiments, I'm thinking, and results, right. I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Just, quantifiably just accelerates that as far as, what we're able to do at this point.
So you have a lot happening. Often when I interview people, I'm like, okay, go to and donate to this, but you've got a lot going on. But certainly parent to parent, which I'm in love with parent to parent. I love how your organization uses its population to promote what it does, and not only to get more parents involved, but just to comfort in general. I mean, there's kind of this incredible organic symbiosis going on with the organization and the community ongoing. And then you are 18 Hands is what it's called, right? The housing project?
Correct. 18 Hands Community. So we are an organization that is going to oversee a community, hopefully a pocket neighborhood, where those with higher needs can be supported. Right now, there's a lot of service providers out there that have group homes throughout Colorado, but they don't support those with high behavior needs.
And how many people do you hope to house?
We're hoping to have it will be a smaller community, probably 20 to 30 homes. We're going to set it up as close to a co-housing type community where people will be involved in the community.
This sounds like something that either there's a pilot program somewhere that inspired you, or you hope to be that pilot program that inspires others. This seems to me innovative.
This is a growing kind of movement. And I was inspired. There's a woman there's a woman, Desiree Kamika. She is part of the Madison House or Autism Housing Network. And she also is part of the Neuro Inclusive Solutions.
I'm going to put graphics up here about DUP15Q and how people can learn about it. What's the thing you want people to know?
I want people to know that there's a whole population of people out there that are living under the curve. And so, there's this whole, bell curve of abilities. And in the disability community, they're always hitting for that center as far as to hit as many people and to serve as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. And I think that's wonderful because we are, as a whole community, underserved. But for us that are literally living under the curve, every test that my son has, it's always less than negative 1% of the population that he functions at. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of us out there that are living with a caregiver 65 and older that have intellectual disability. So there are a lot of us coming, and it's this huge tsunami. And I don't know what to do. My son is 19 and we're all getting older. I'm getting older. My husband's getting older. He has high behaviors. We're not going to be able to do this forever. Yeah. And I've spoken to so many service providers. And the last one I spoke to that does take people like my son said, yes, we have, group homes all over Colorado. But just to let you know, I'm working with a woman now with high behaviors. And I just placed her in her 5th group home in 13 weeks. So, she's living like a nomad. And when you have intellectual disability, that's hard to understand. It's hard to understand as someone who's neurotypical. But for my son to not understand where he's going and who's going to take care of him, and it's frightening.
Okay. When you started to talk, you did this little sigh. And I think it was like an atomic bomb going off, but a little sigh. And I think that maybe was a lot of that thought is what's going to be next.
What's next?
What can you do? What is the thing that needs to happen? I mean, is it more group homes? Is it better individualized care? What can you and your husband do to, not that you haven't thought about this every single moment of your life, but I guess what is that? Or is there a thing?
There isn't right now, but there's a huge movement that's coming as far as serving this population. And right now it's all put on the parents. And most parents that are living this life are swimming with their heads down as hard as fast as they can day by day just to get by. There are very few people that are able to lift their head up and kind of look towards the future and actually come up with solutions. And I think a lot of it is put on the plate of the parents that are already overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And so I think, organizations that are already formed really need to start putting some real thought into this community and this population because the tsunami is coming.
Well, the tsunami, I guess, is it like when you're planning for retirement that there's some way you can plan for, I mean, this is kind of repeating the question, but some way you can plan for your son's independence or life without you? I mean, it feels like there should be some trustworthy space where that could be a thing where you're investing into a life beyond you that would be good for your son. And if that doesn't exist, it seems like it should.
Unfortunately, it doesn't exist. A lot of it is just figuring it out on our own, which is inadequate and overwhelming, and is what keeps me up at night. Yeah. It's trying to figure it out. I wasn't built for this. I'd thrown into the disability community, and I was in veterinary medicine before all of this, and that was my passion and my drive. And now it's now my son and his future and the future of people like him. And where are we going from here? And so it's a huge learning curve for me to figure all of this out.
Yeah, a curve you're climbing. What does your son like? What entertains him?
Currently, YouTube videos of flushing toilets and buses and things of that nature. He likes the wiggles, and he likes going to playgrounds and not playing on the swings, but playing with the swings. So his interests are very limited. We take him to the lake as much as possible. He likes to watch the waves. He's nonverbal.
What are those moments where you're like, dang girl, you're doing it right? Is it the lake?
It's the smile on his face.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing I can go off of. Like I said, he's nonverbal. He does communicate with an iPad, but it's all wants and needs. If he's hungry, thirsty, wants to go for a drive, that kind of thing, he can say.
So the biggest takeaway I'm getting from this is this, I don't know, huge, dark, ominous cloud of the future, but that there needs to be a growing conversation about what this means and what needs to be established.
Yes, absolutely. And we've gotten help as far as, the whole turning 18 with SSI and transferring of the waivers and that kind of thing. But after that, 21, they say the bus stops coming and you fall off the cliff. And so we feel that we have 2 years to figure it out, where he's going to go, because even day programs, he's not qualified for a day program. The first question they ask is, does he have behaviors? Yes. I'm sorry, we're not equipped to handle those. He needs one-on-one, sometimes two-on-one support out in the community.
Well, pardon my novice question, but at 21, does he lose your benefits, or does he benefit to change in some way?
He's on the DD waiver.
Okay.
And so he does receive support, and I am his family caregiver through the Medicaid waiver. But as far as, he goes to Laredon right now, which is his transition program. He didn't qualify for the bridge program at Douglas County because they can't handle the high behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So we drive 45 minutes each way, my husband and I, twice a day, to take him to Laredon.
Okay. Well, that is that's an obligation. That's massive.
Yeah, I don't trust, they have a transportation service for that, but, he tries to get out of the car when you're driving 75 miles an hour, on C470. And I don't expect anyone else that doesn't know him well to be able to handle that. So
yeah, you'd just rather do the commute than be at home worried about who's doing the commute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Adrienne, this is a lot, but I think it's the kind of thing that needs to be. Your morning probably was going great and started talking to me, and I started prying about what is your future. But this is
my life.
Yeah, well, good. I want to share your life. I want to share this because, this is why Parent to Parent is there, is so there's other people. But I think now it's our job to amplify beyond these organizations. This isn't just a niche organizational question. This is a societal question that's going to affect everyone.
Absolutely. And it affects the whole family. I had to leave work, and I started working at night, so my husband would take care of him during the day, and then I would work at night to take care of him. And so it affects the whole family unit. And it's a lot to take on, but like I said, he is the most amazing human being I've ever known, and he's my best teacher, and he is the love and light of our whole entire world. He's our, I feel he's the reason why I'm here on this earth, is to take care of him, because I don't think anyone else could have made me grow and change and do what I'm doing currently if it weren't for him. I just want to be the voice for those who don't have one and need one desperately. Their lives depend on it.